Hey guys, welcome to 5 Minute Book Reviews. My name is George. I'm going to be reviewing The Culture Code by Daniel Coyle. It's the second book that I read from him. Um, Man, amazing book. What can I say about it? I mean, I read it about uh, maybe 2, 3 years ago, and it's super amazing. It talks about the best cultures in the world, um, and what it takes to create a spectacular culture. So it talks about Pixar. It talks about SEAL Team Six, Navy SEAL Team Six, um, and it talks about the types of cultures in these amazing companies and amazing organizations, and um, what it takes to build that. I highly recommend it. Uh, this might be a short review because I read it a while ago, and not just that, but the message is so simple in this book. So the main thing that creates a an amazing culture, an amazing organization, it has a lot to do with safety and vulnerability. So, um, you know, uh, he has a TED talk about this book. I don't know if it's a TED talk. It's actually like a university talk or some sort of business talk on YouTube. I've seen it a lot of times. Basically, the way that he describes it is like culture is, man, I just don't know how to explain it, but you feel safe when you're in a great culture. In a place where there's a great culture, you feel very safe. Um, he talks about this thing called something theater brigade. Some theater brigade. Aubrey Plaza studied there. A lot of comedians went there. Upright Citizens Brigade in Chicago, something like that. I think that's what it's called. But I'm sorry that this isn't coming out great and articulate. But essentially, an example is like, let's say, an example with me, with my life, in my job. One of my jobs is Uber, and whenever I want to chill everything out, or whenever I want to, connect with a person, one of my riders, or there's a group of riders, if there's something in my mind where I feel vulnerable, I'll sometimes say it, or I guess a lot of the times I'll say it. I'll be like, man, I slept horrible last night, or um, I'll say, I don't know how to explain it, but by being vulnerable around your team, not being weak, I guess, yeah, because everybody has weaknesses. That's why this book is so hard to talk about, because it's kind of having a great culture is it's in the little tiny details, right? So a person will say one thing and it'll open up that culture. He talks about this great restaurant. I can't remember what it was called, but it's one of the greatest restaurants in the world, I guess. And he talks about the chef. The author was sitting down with the chef, and he was sitting down with the chef at one of his restaurants, and one of the waiters dropped a plate of food, and um, the chef, the owner of this place, told the author. He said, "This moment right here, um, I think it was this book where this happened." He said, "This owner right here, or this moment right here, is going to determine a lot about this restaurant. Will the energy go up? Will everybody come together to help and all this stuff, or is there going to be blame involved?" Great cultures don't really. There's no blame. I guess there's accountability, um, but yeah. Anyways, a great culture is a place where the leader can be vulnerable and is vulnerable, because everybody's vulnerable. Don't try to hide it. And it's such an amazing book because it's counterintuitive everybody tells, as men, I'm a guy, so I've always been raised to be like, sorry, I'm going over the time, but I've always been raised to being, tough and confident and like secure. But I don't know, when you're vulnerable with your team, it creates safety somehow. And 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 yeah, so sorry I can't explain it more, but it's an amazing book. And when I read it, um, whenever you read a great book, you're enthralled in it. So I was getting closer with my one of my aunts. I got closer with one of my aunts because I was in the middle of reading this book, and I opened up to her about certain things, and I felt a little closer to the people around me and stuff like that. Anyways, amazing book. Check it out. Um, Peace.